Welcome. Good to see you, Mitch. You too, Shihan. Welcome back. We had a couple of weeks off that we had a few things going on, but today we're going to go straight into finding opportunities for throws in kata. Technique number 9, is it 9? 16 of Kyokushin Nissan, also Pinan 1. Whenever you have a turn in a kata, you have an opportunity for a throw. So I use the phrase, where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. So every time there's a turn, there's an opportunity for a throw. So we're just going to look at that today and see what we come up with. So the first move out of Taikyoku, it's from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. We finish here. Okay? So if I go through that card, I'll be a bit lazy, don't I? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, movement number 9 comes from here and around there. We're always taught not to turn our back on our opponent, yet here we are. Our opponent is in front of us and we're turning our back. If there's one constant that you'll find a lot of time in martial arts is you expose your back for throws. It's very common. So for example, if I'm with Mitch, we can be just here. It may be that I'm under this arm. He gets under my arm with another hook, boom, and I'll turn my back here. See that? I'll turn my back for the throw. And so it's very important to recognize, whilst we don't like to turn our back very often, as long as you have control of certain things, it gives you an opportunity for a throw. Okay? Now in the kata, if you imagine, I've come down, just stay there. If I come down the middle, 1, 2, 3, and then I have this move here in the kata. 1, 2, like that. Okay, let's imagine now that I go straight back to that technique that I just did. Here, there. See that? And then as I turn around, I throw my partner. I can also, we'll get closer just so you can see, I can also work the idea of a cross grip here. So that when I turn around here, now I have that throw. Okay? So once again, I come down the middle, bang, I hit. Hitting Mitch is like, man, my hand. Okay, hitting there. And then I come up in the kata, remember we go 1, 2. Okay? So what we're doing now is we come here 1, arm around, and 2. And you can throw them down. Now, sometimes they don't always go down. So I can come in here, bang, bang, I hit, and that arm shot, I come here, and it becomes a forearm jolt across the neck as well. I turn, watch the feet. This is really funky. I'm in here like this. I come in, remember the kata is from this position to this position to turn. So I come in here, as I turn, look, I kick his leg away as well. So I don't necessarily have, remember one of Chojun Miyagi's guidelines for bunkai is that don't be too focused on the embu sen. So just because it says you do a 90-degree turn, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a 90-degree turn. The principle is more important. So I come in here, step in the kata, step in like that. In reality, I'm going to step in here and hit. Now, instead of turning a 90-degree angle to there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step. I want you to watch the feet. The kata is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so instead of doing that, we have 1, 2, and watch the feet now. I bring this one in, and I step back there to finish. Okay, so the Zenkutsu, instead of being 90 degrees, what I do is the Zenkutsu actually follows that line back there instead. And the process is simply one of destroying his base. There, see that? Kick here, like that. Yeah, like that to take his base away. Nothing works 100% of the time, everything works in degrees. So another thing is, I kick here, it doesn't work. I'm going to reach down to the ankle, up to the knee, trap the knee, and shoot my arm across. Okay, so we'll do that in a way that you can see fully. Come in, last technique, technique number 8 of the, or it's also number 16 in Taekwondo 1, 2, 3, and 1. Here, okay, the kata turns there like that. What I'm going to do is shoot up, turn, and throw. But the throw may not work, so I take my foot back to here, and then I kick the leg there. And often that's enough. But if they're not as compromising as Mitch has been today, because he's my friend, okay, I go here, and he doesn't necessarily lose his balance. I cut the knee, and I drive through. And that's often enough to finish the takedown. Okay, there's also another way of doing it, which is like here, and I take my hip all the way through to here. I want to expose my hips outside the line of his body. If my hips are exactly in line with his body, when I do this, it just works his way around the throw. So I take my hips all the way over here, and it doesn't compromise the throw. So, the whole idea, Pinan, Taikyoku 1, here, Taikyoku 2, here, Taikyoku 3, here, Pinan 1, here, they're all the same. The movement is the same. You're turning your back on your opponent. So where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. Where there's a turn in the kata, there's an opportunity for a throw. So I just simply, I come in and 1, slip up, or 1, slip in, or 1, just cup the head. I step around in the kata, I step around, and I keep this hand firing. And remember, in the kata, the left hand becomes gedanbare. So the left hand pulls my kata down and finish. If the throw doesn't finish like that, I turn, and I don't have to get caught up in the enbusen. I don't 100% have to turn 90 degrees. What I can do now is I come here, and I shuffle back and kick that leg out. And often that's enough. But if that's not enough, the third option is I kick the leg, he still keeps his balance, I reach for the far side knee, and I run through like that. Okay? I don't have to lift the knee. A simple illustration will show you why. So I go here, if I don't trap the knee and I walk sideways, you just take steps after steps. Okay, so that's all I'm trying to do is prevent that step. So what I do is I'll come here, I won't try and lift the knee, I'll simply block it. Put my hand on the knee and then drive past. Now you can't take that step and he literally just falls over. Okay, so that's a very simple analysis of how you can use the turns in kata as throws. I'm not really sure about Goju kata in terms of, I just saw Sensei Mike's name there, in terms of the same sort of high velocity throws, but I know in Shotokan's a power style of karate. Goju, a hard style, which means it's very linear. Goju, and to a degree Kyokushin. I think Kyokushin is probably more influenced by Goju than it is Shotokan, even though our early kata was Shotokan kata. You did Shotokan, awesome. Yeah. So it's very linear and very strong. And I think those long stances and the long movements on the rotation, on the turns, you create a much higher level of torque and centrifugal force. So it lends themselves to these big throws, whereas Goju, the movements are short and sharp, so it'd be a different sort of throw, I believe. So what we have there now is that we have what I say, where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. Okay, and that means where there's a turn, there's an opportunity, but not all opportunities translate into the perfect throw. So you have to have plan B, plan C. Okay, the first plan is, yes, the throw works really well. You take the base away and you compromise their upper body. But plan B is you take the base away, but he still maintains his balance. So you need to kick the base out a little further by an angle change. Plan C is even that doesn't work, so that's okay. You're just going to run through and trip him with the hand on the outside knee. Now remember, this is just simply one fundamental movement out of the kata. There are a lot more moves, that you can have. For example, I like Pinan 3. Also, another thing that you have when you have that turn is very powerful elbows. So I'm here like this. So we'll come back here. The movement here is here. Bang. But another way to look at that is I come in and spin elbow there like that. And this is very good Pinan 3. Bang, like that. So what I did in Pinan 1, same movement though. Instead, if you watch my feet, instead of leaving the right foot where it is and taking my leg around so I end up on the outside of the bench, what I'm going to do is as I step through here, I take this foot there. Now when I turn, you run straight to my elbow. Okay? So watch again. Instead of keeping my foot on the center line, turn and rotate there. What I'm doing is I hit here and I step forward at 45 degrees. And that may very well be he throws a punch at me. And I just drop my head in that angle and I slip there. And then the hand comes over and you finish with an elbow right on the face. So that turn also lends itself 1, 2, and then you can also, from there, come straight back again and finish. So whenever you've got that turn, you have a great opportunity for spin elbow as well, which is a fantastic technique. Rochelle, Sensei Mike. Alec, nice to see you. Roland, warm and fuzzy Perth, dang. MA, from Denmark. Thanks for coming. Gary, how are you? Island Fist. Which island are you on? Principle before technique is important to remember, and of course, just because the kata shows a turn doesn't mean you have to turn when applying. Exactly. There you go. And that's the third plan C is when I've come around here, boom, step through, the turns like this. Well, plan B is back there. But plan C is that even that doesn't work. So instead of continuing the turn that way, what I'm doing is I'm running through in the opposite direction. I might just do that again because we didn't have it. So plan A, of course, is 1, 2, 3, and throw. That never works properly, so 1, 2, keep the leg away. Okay, you don't have to do a big, what's it called? Uchimata style thing. You can leave your leg on the ground here, there, so your feet are still grounded, rather than having the leg there as in judo. Because when they go to the ground, you want to stay on your feet, whereas judo doesn't care so much. And the third one is where, as Sensei Mike says, you don't have to follow the exact line. I come in, I go to throw, doesn't work, take the leg, doesn't work. What I'm going to do is reach down to the knee and run through. I'll do that this way so you can see it. 1, push, 1, 2, 3, turn, there. But that doesn't work. So I keep the leg there. But that doesn't work. So I reach down, cut the knee, and go through and change direction altogether. So that's a perfect example of what Sensei Mike is saying there. Principle before technique. Principle before technique. Just before the kata show. Just because the kata shows a turn doesn't mean you have to turn when applying the turn. No, not at all. There is one opponent and he's standing in front of you. So a lot of the time the turn is simply turning to an angle on that person in front of you. Of course, US militaries are stationed on many islands. Bahrain, Hawaii, mainland Japan, and Okinawa. Beautiful. What a life. Fantastic. Okay, so that's that concept of the turn in the kata. It's very important to remember that where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. So where there's a turn, there's an opportunity for a throw.
And something you said today at training, Shihan, that extends on this was if they're going in a circle, you go straight line. If they go in a straight line, you go in a circle.
Yes.
Which ties into this as
yes, that's exactly
straight line theory.
When I used to teach tackling, a principle that was taught to me was if they circle out of a technique, you cut them off with a straight line. If they try to drive through, well, then you circle off and take them down in a circular line. And that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is an illustration of that. Is where I come in through here, and let's go this way. I come in through here, 1, 2, and I go to turn, but he circles out of it. Then I just simply cut up in a straight line across the knee. So I kill that turn. See, I try to throw, and he's turning around, and I'm not getting anywhere. See that? So I kill the circle with a straight cut. Trap it in, then head in a straight line there. And that kills that circular motion. The straight line kills that. So good, I'm glad you mentioned that. Oops. Roland. Plan C appears to... Yeah, no, not really. That's a good point, Roland, but it only releases the arm for a split second because the chance of retaliation is extremely low because their balance is gone. And even if they did retaliate, the chances of that retaliation being sufficient are very minimal because seriously, his whole brain is just dealing with the fact that he's heading to the mat. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Again, we can look at that, Roland. So again, we'll go this way again. Sorry. Just have a little bit of a dance. Okay, look, come in. I still control this arm. I don't necessarily want to control it completely. I need to keep it tight to my body, really. I go there, that doesn't work. Now look, this arm is driving, is waving that leg. If he tries to do something with that arm, it's just, literally, it's just virtually zero chance.
It happens so clear.
It happens.
And secondly, something you've always said, Shihan, is the first need of life is self-preservation?
Yes, I mean, the number one instinct in mankind is self-preservation. So they will do everything in their power to survive the fall without getting hurt before they are able to counter the technique with your pressure is on the head, they're pushing them down, that end is so low, there's very little that they can do. And even if they do, it has very little effect because they're literally like in a millisecond compromise their balance and they're going down. And of course, number one rule at all time is preserve your stability, maintain your balance. Also, I even said that the one who loses the balance first is the one who loses the fight. Of course, exactly the concept of understanding opposites, straight, circular, etc. is the important thing here. Not just go and do or hard and soft, but understanding the interplay between opposites. Yes, and good point, but also not just opposites in terms of hard, soft, straight, circular, but also opposites in terms of upper body, lower body,
and left and right. Quite often you attack the left side and they defend the left side strongly, which creates an opening on the right side. I mean, that's for another day. We won't illustrate that now. But this is something we've been working on lately, is the ability to mentally shift from upper, lower body, upper body, lower body. When the bottom half of the body is back, the top half is compromised. When the posture is strong, the bottom half is compromised. When the left is strong, the right is weak. When the right is strong, the left is weak. That's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sensei Mike, because that is a really good theme for a future video. But I think all movement, it doesn't matter what it does, even the most powerful knockout technique gives opportunity because it compromises something in the body somewhere. So, thanks. Good on you. You showed that just after I wrote it. Good on you, Roland. Okay, look, we'll leave it at that. I hope you got something out of that, but the key to remember is where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. Where there's a turn in a kata, there's an opportunity for a throw. If plan A doesn't work, have a plan B and then have a plan C. And in this case, plan A is circular, plan B is a straight line back, but that straight line back in one direction is also compromised because they circle out of it, so you cut with a straight line across the knee. I think that's three techniques that really flow nicely together.
Just one question, Shihan. Would you recommend practicing this with mats? Because we were doing a bit slower today because it's a hard floor.
Yeah.
But when you do it with mats, you can probably go a little faster to stress test what works.
Yeah, 100%. You need to have a soft surface. And if you don't have a surface, that's fine. Do it on a plush field of grass or at the beach with sand. And if the sand is hard, in 6 inches or 10 inches or 12 inches of water. Not 12 foot because you both drown. But yeah, 12 inches of water. We did a lot of techniques, especially when we were working like jumping, spin, back kicks and so on in the old days. We used to do it in 12 inches to 2 foot of water so that the landing was nice and soft. And that gives you the confidence to get the skill right. Well, it's the same with these throws. We're doing it very softly and very slow simply because this is a cement floor. We didn't bring the mats. But when you have mats, of course, you can drive a lot harder. And there are even mats. There are mats and there are mats. There are soft mats and hard mats. But a mat's a mat. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming along. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please help the channel. We're building up. We'll be 2 million members soon. We just need another 1,997,000. Yeah. But anyway, I think we've hit the 3,000 mark, have we?
Yes.
Yep, we've hit 3,000 subscribers. That's fantastic. Look, put the word out. Be comfortable in taking the link. Copy the link and send it to your friends and encourage everybody to come along, and we really appreciate it. So hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Us. Yeah, I just saw that. Us, see you both back. Yeah, thanks for that as well. Yes, Island Fist. Yeah, the water was fantastic. It was just absolutely fantastic because it really provides a fantastic cushion. And in fact, when we were working some of the high velocity, high jump kicks, we used to even do it into the pool, off the edge of the pool, into the pool, until you get an idea of the where your body is in space. And then we do it at the beach in a couple of feet of water. And another thing you can do, which was really good, because where we live, we got the best surf in the world. I hate to.
It's true.
It is true. We got we're just right over there. We got the Gold Coast beach is one of the best beaches ever. And one of the things we used to do is we let the water be quite shallow, and then we time it when you had a wave come in. It only had to be like a 1.5 foot wave. And then you do the jump, and by the time you lift up, when you land, there's that much water now. And that would have been too much water perhaps to jump, because it would have created resistance with the jump. But because you only jump in 8 inches of water, and then you jump and do the kick, and by the time you do the kick, the 1.5 foot waves come in, so now you've got 2 foot of water, and it worked really, really well. That's another thing you can experiment with. Thanks, guys. Us. See you next week.